back to another episode to Two Crones with a Mic. We're always so excited for you guys to be here and give us a chance to watch us and listen to us, to what we have to say, and our own problems, issues, and everything we want to come up with, and whatever spirit tells us to do. So, thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Let us move into a moment of alignment and clarity and connection. If it is safe for you to do so, close or lower your eyes. If you're driving the car, don't do that right now. And let us take just a moment and focus on our third eye for just a moment. So if your eyes are closed, it's almost as if you're looking cross-eyed upward at that space that is right above your eyebrows, but right between them. As we move into today's topic, and from here on out, we set our intention that we go forth with an inner vision of knowing how to live with intention, of how we want to show up in the world, how we need to show up in the world in order to do what we came here to do. And so we use our power and our gift of imagination, and we see this third eye opening, gloriously, beautifully opening right in the center, right between our eyebrows, just slightly above it. And image whatever color you believe your third eye would be. Maybe it's golden, so you always see the good that can be. Perhaps you make it the color of your eyes that you have now. Maybe you envision it as purple or indigo, since that is the color of the third eye chakra. Whatever color you choose, or maybe a rainbow of colors you trust and you know it's right and perfect for you. We affirm that it is open for us to be able to see and vision our life with, and that when it needs rest, that it closes naturally on its own. But it is just as our eyes work. We see what we need to see. We understand what we need to understand. And we use it just as we use our physical eye. We are grateful for this powerful tool that has been given to us to be able to see what is ours to see, so we can envision that which we have created inside of us. Dropping into our heart centers now, just a short journey from the third eye to that heart center. We affirm the deep connection between what we see and the love that we came here to be. Nothing and no one can keep us from seeing and being love except ourselves. Nothing and no one is against us. The universe is always conspiring to support us and to show us and to teach us, to love us, to cradle us. We are empowered by these gifts of sight and love. We allow those gifts to energize us and animate us, and to empower each step we take, each person we hug, each life we touch. One nice, deep, cleansing breath in. Hold at the top. Release when you're ready. And so it is.
Yes.
I have
Thank
no
you so
idea where
much.
those are going to go until my mouth starts moving.
They always go to a good place. I
They seem
always
to.
enjoy them very much. So
Thank
thank you for
you.
always handling that.
My pleasure.
Good, good. So today, what's our topic? Reinventing ourselves and where to start.
Yes. My niece says that I am the mistress of reinventing myself. That I've done it so many times in my life, and she's not wrong. She's not wrong. But I don't think it's a compliment either.
Well, sometimes you have to reinvent yourself even if you're not ready. Every time I left
Yes.
a marriage where I got divorced 3 times. It's not something I'm proud of, but it's just part of my life,
Weird.
you
Me
know.
too. Divorced
You
3
know, and
times. Yeah.
and every time you leave a relationship or something as significant as a marriage, you literally reinventing yourself, whether you want to or not at that point, but you do. You have no choice because you figured, well, you know what, that path didn't work for me, so now what? it's
Yeah.
it's a blank slate and a new canvas.
It is. And I'm going to pull up my favorite quote about this, but I think I pulled it up last Saturday. So let's take a second. Okay. This is from Liz Gilbert. So you mentioned
Hmm.
there are life events that make us reinvent ourselves. And sometimes it's just this inner calling too, right? It's this inner
Hmm.
knowing.
Yeah.
Liz Gilbert, and I got y'all, I'm the quote girl. I've never seen any life transformation that didn't begin with the person in question finally getting sick of their own bullshit. Hands down, one of my most favorite quotes. And it is something that I use all the time because I've been sick of my own bullshit for a while now. And I have been like, oh gosh, when did we do the talk about pillars as I'm trying to reinvent myself? And that's been a couple months, right?
It's in,
It was
well, a
early
couple
on,
of weeks.
couple
Yeah,
weeks.
it's yeah. Hmm.
So I initially decided that I wanted to reinvent myself because I didn't like who I was showing up as. And as I was going through EMDR,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
recognized that who I was really just a one big walking trauma response.
Hmm.
That is what I was. I had so much trauma that caused me to be a people pleaser, that caused me to sacrifice myself for others, that had me out of alignment with who I wanted to be, jealousy and insecurity. And those are not people that I want to be
Hmm.
in this world. And and so as I've gone through EMDR and I'll leave and I'm like, I wonder who I'm going to be after this is cleared. And I do that a lot. But it started with me being sick of my own bullshit. I got sick of being this person that I didn't want to be anymore, and I took steps to make it happen. And ever since you and I had Ramadir here,
That was, we talk about this a lot about Ramadir. I mean, but he
Mhm.
had such an impact on us, not just because what he said, but how it made us feel. What it
Yes,
brought, like deep down from our soul, what a word was buried, what he just unlocked in us.
yes, that's exactly what that higher energy does. It unlocks something inside of us,
Hmm.
and it unlocked in me an empowerment. Honestly, anger first,
Hmm.
because I was never allowed to feel my anger growing up.
Hmm.
I wasn't allowed to feel it, wasn't allowed to express it, made everybody uncomfortable. So I didn't really have anger. In fact, my 3rd husband would be willing to tell you multiple times if he were to listen to this, and God, please, I hope he's not. Um, he's the one man in this world I do not wanna have anything to do with. And, but anyway, I would always say, "I'm not angry, I'm frustrated." Because I wasn't
Yes.
allowed to be mad, not because he didn't want me to he wanted me to be
Hmm.
enraged, but I wasn't allowed to be mad. So,
Hmm.
in in going through EMDR, part of who I want to be is somebody who's allowed to be angry.
Yeah. Yes. We say that a lot. I'm not angry, I'm just frustrated. I'm
Yeah.
just frustrated. The word
Yeah.
just
Just.
makes it even smaller. I'm just
Yeah.
frustrated. Nothing,
S-
nothing bad. I'm sorry. But
And it really is okay to be pissed off.
yes, it
It's okay
is.
to be pissed. It's okay to be angry. And I'm now really realizing that. Like it's not even a lower vibration to be angry. It's part of the human experience to be angry.
Hmm.
Now, if
Hmm.
I unpacked there and I stayed angry, do you think my vibration's going to improve? No.
No.
But to get that energy out of my body and go, oh, I am enraged about this, and then stop and go, how do I fix this? How do I do this? But all of that is how we're getting to this reinvention place, right?
Yes.
So, what bullshit are you sick of that's
Oh my
causing you to
God.
want to
How much
reinvent
time do
yourself?
we have today? One thing is, I'm tired of that. I always put myself last, and
I'm tired of that for you too.
oh, thanks.
Yeah. Let's stop
But
doing that.
it's not, I'm not going to change that. I just want to put myself on the same level that I put others. And
So that is
that's,
changing it though, but you're not going to put yourself
yeah,
first. You're just going to put yourself where everybody else is. You're going to matter as much as everyone else.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
I just meant by not changing it, by not caring about other people anymore. Because I really like
Right.
when people contact me, like previous clients, they still message me and are like, oh, Bettina, can I talk to you? Can we have a conversation about things? And I want to make time. I want to make time for clients. I want to make time for students. And, but I want to put myself on the same level
Mhm.
that I put them on. You know, that's one thing I'm sick of. Um, I'm sick of like postponing things, or not postponing, but um, God, what's the English word for that? You're procrastinating. I'm a
Mm.
procrastinator.
German
I
word for that.
I need to do. I know what I need to do, but it's like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe next week or maybe tomorrow. Today I just don't have the time.
Mhm.
Um, I'm just sick of saying yes when I want to say no, and that's still something that I have to learn to say no. Um, I'm sick of just sometimes not voicing what I really feel, especially at work. Now, at work, it's a different environment. Of course, you have to be more professional and be more respectful, but I'm still trying to figure out a way of fighting this. I don't even know what to call it, but fighting this rat race, that everybody's in, and I still have to be in it, whether I like it or not, because we all need to pay our bills. But it's just, how do I step out of that, fully step out of it, not just being aware that it's happening, but how do I end it? Um, I'm just sick of a lot of things that I feel like I need to be doing, and I'm not doing it because I don't know why. I don't know why.
Sometimes I don't know how to stop doing it.
Yeah.
That's like one of my biggest things is I mentioned I'm tired of playing small, but I don't always know what it means to
Mm-hmm.
play big. I don't know what that means sometimes.
Well, I think
Like,
you were told lately
yeah,
by,
courage. Yeah,
yes.
courage and yeah. So the things I'm sick of. Oh, do you feel complete? I need to ask that. Do you
Yes,
feel like is
yes,
that enough for
please.
you?
Yes.
Okay. Well, mine I am the excuse queen. I have all the excuses of all the reasons why I cannot do this and that and the other. I am the excuse queen and I am sick of my own excuses. I'm sick of my own BS where that's
Mm-hmm.
concerned. Um, I am absolutely sick of being in debt.
Yeah.
I mean, I am proud of the fact that I have paid off, oh my gosh, like I've fully paid off like $7,000 worth of debt just in the last year.
Good for
And
you.
I've got my car down to almost under 7,000 owed on it. Ooh, got a little buggy. But I'm really sick of being in debt. I'm sick of not knowing what it feels like to be comfortable, financially
Mm-hmm.
comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I am really sick of my eating patterns. I eat out a lot more than I should.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't eat. what I should eat. Although today I did a little bit better because I had fish and rather than red meat, which is always feels so heavy,
Hmm.
I did a fish, but I did a fried fish sandwich.
I
And
was
I
just going to
didn't
say that, but
right. I did carbs and I'm like, "What am I doing?" And I'm tired of being low energy and like literally the last thing I just said, plus the excuses, is what leads to me being low energy. Like we
hmm
talked about with Ramadir, we felt so like we were so high for a little bit, and then all of a sudden we plummeted, and we plummeted for days. Like we were so
yeah,
low vibe. And I've had that experience so many times. I thought it was so funny. Like, you're like, I have never had this experience before. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I've had my ass kicked by energy my whole life. Like, how was that your first rodeo? Because I'm over here
maybe
like,
I've been avoiding it and I didn't even realize it.
yeah,
But
I
I'm
have been,
just bring it
yeah,
on.
I've been bucked off that Bronco way too many times. And yeah, I'm just staying on the rodeo, talk.
Uh
But
huh.
yeah, like, and that was such a surprise to me that you hadn't had it. And I have known for years that I needed to make these changes in my life. And I did. I've made some great changes with my food, but even now,
Hmm.
after Ramadir, it feels different. Like I need to sit in meditation with Hathor and be like, all right, for this goddess energy, what do I need to be consuming? And not just the food, right? But it's the
Hmm.
consumption of my crime dramas. And I can keep Ion and Ion Plus or whatever the heck it is on all day, all night. I did. I got really hot last night, so I decided to sleep in my living room, and I had the back door open, so it's a lot like glamping.
Hmm.
And that's what I call it. And I kept NCIS New Orleans on all night long and would roll over and, kind of watch a little bit. I'm what am I doing? What am I doing? That
Hmm.
is none of that is
Hmm.
good for my energy. None of that is good for my vibe.
No, it's
I'm
not.
sick of my own shit. I
Yeah.
just am. So, yeah, those are just some of the things that I'm sick
Hmm.
of not making time for things that are important. I make time for friends. Um, I stopped saying yes to things that I don't want to do. I've definitely stopped that. Therapy helped me with that. Um, I've learned to speak up more at work, but I do so without emotion. And that is really important to me because I was making my boss very uncomfortable because I was over emotional. But that was also a trauma response. And I felt so bad for my boss. She's a really amazing person. And I'm just
Hmm.
like making her so uncomfortable. I'm like, but I'm an emotional being. And then I'm like, no, you're really not. You're a traumatized being who is trying to speak to people, fix your
Yeah.
shit. And
Hmm.
and that's me. Like that is one of my sayings is fix my shit. And then the next one is now what shit am I sick of? How do I need to fix it? And golly, I hope they're okay with all the shits I'm dropping in this.
Well, they have to be because I'm not editing that one out.
Not editing it out. So yeah, so those are some of my biggest. So I invite all you listeners, jot down,
Hmm.
What Liz said. Your transformation starts with being sick of your own shit.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
what are you sick of? Jot it down. And then let's talk about because I like we for whatever reason, you and I have all of a sudden started pulling cards
Hmm.
before the actual podcast. Whereas before we would do it for our Friday message. And if you guys are not
Exactly.
attending those Friday messages, it's just on YouTube. It's not on Spotify. You can find us at Two Crones with a Mic and on YouTube. And we have Friday messages. And I'll tell you, some of them are really, really profound, but literally, I'm pulling these cards and you'll see me at the very beginning of the podcast. I look down, I'm like looking at something and I'm looking down because I am always shocked and yet not surprised that the messages have everything to do with what we're talking about.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
I
so
agree.
tell us about your cards, the cards that you pulled, because I asked, what do we need in order to fix our stuff, right? How do we reinvent ourselves? Where do we start? What were the cards you pulled?
Like in the last message.
Oh, did you not pull
Oh
cards
no.
before this
Oh,
one?
I got one actually.
What'd you pull?
Actually, I mean, I'm just, like you said, I'm surprised, but I'm really not. Okay. So I do channel an archangel, and his name is Melchizedek. And guess what I pulled?
You
It's
pulled his card. And what did I say at the table of knowledge before we came in? I said, Bettina, we kind of have a plan, but you know
mm-hmm,
what? Let's let the energies flow through us. I mean, we're channelers. We talk to angels and
mm-hmm,
archangels and ascended masters. Let it
mm-hmm.
channel. And what did you
Let it
get?
come through.
You got you
I got
got
him. I got him.
him.
I got my guy, my
So
person.
that
Not
feels
my
like you're
person,
supposed
my
to channel
spirit.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love him. I just love him. And it says, you have learned from experience. More inner study is now required to further progress.
Mhm.
And that is really the truth, because it's really when we talked about the female energy and how we kind of create on the inside. Remember what you said, you were creating on the inside?
Yeah.
And it's really coming from the inside. Our progress, our growth is coming from the inside. It's not an
Mhm.
outside force. And
Yeah.
so I think we're being called to really reach deep inside of us and see where do we need to change? Where do we start? What's our
Absolutely.
next step?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because the two that I pulled, one is align your life. And the question is, what is not aligned or needs to change?
Oh my gosh, we can't make this up. You
And
really
what was
can't make
really
this up.
funny is it kept showing up on the bottom of the deck. And I'm like, no, I'm not the kind of reader that pulls from the bottom of the deck. And of course, it's the first card that came out because, like, if
And we're back because we just had a technical glitch, but
was weird.
happens. So yeah.
So
Well,
I had
Indira.
pulled, yeah. So I had at
Mm-hmm.
the beginning, because all of a sudden you and I decided to start pulling cards at the beginning of the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this one showed up on the bottom of the deck. I'm like, I'm not a bottom of the deck girl, but sure enough, there it is. So it's align your life. And look at that image. That image is incredible. And it says, what is not aligned or needs to change? Now, when I started trying to figure out like what what did I want to stand on? Who did I want to be? What was out of alignment was the behaviors that I was exhibiting with who I wanted to be. And one of my pillars was courage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And because I feel like I often silence my mouth, my voice, because I'm so afraid of drawing attention. You and I talked about this at the table of knowledge a little bit ago. I also, sorry, I had to move because I didn't quite get settled after the technological issues. One of the things that would be very courageous is for me to lose the rest of this weight and to get the body back that
Mm-hmm.
I once had. And the courage part comes in understanding that I may get, of course, I'm 52, so I may not, but I may get looks that are not the kind of attention that I want. And I've got to be courageous enough to love myself, my
Mm-hmm.
body,
Mm-hmm.
and not worry about what anybody else is going to do. Because what I do know is that with the allowance of anger in my life, that I would now have no problems correcting verbally or physically any man who said or did anything inappropriate towards
Yeah.
me and my body, whereas before I would have frozen. And now I'm like, I don't mind punching a thing,
The
you know,
thing.
a thing, whatever I feel like I need to punch. I don't mind.
Well,
I
what
don't
kind
mind.
of attention do you think? I mean, what kind of attention are you talking about? Good attention or
Oh
bad
no,
attention
that
or unwanted?
the unwanted attention. Yeah. I grew up with boys saying grew up in the 80s here in the Midwest, and boys saying all kinds of inappropriate things about your body. In fact, and so my right breast has always been larger than my left, just always
Mm-hmm.
has. And
Which is normal, by the way.
it is normal. It is. And especially when you're
Mm-hmm.
cystic, because I
Mm-hmm.
have cysts in
Mm-hmm.
my breast. So, and I was called Lopper since the age of 7, or
Really?
so not the age of 7, since the 7th grade. Since 7th grade. Yeah. And I finally got the nerve, the energy, the ability to say to this guy, because he's one of my lifelong friends. I'm like, you've literally caused me to have body dysmorphia. Can
Wow.
you not call me that anymore?
Mhm.
And he was like, why didn't you say something 40 years ago? I said, I didn't have the cojones then. I do now. I love you. You're one of my dearest friends. And also, that has caused me to hate my body so much, to think that I'm some kind of freak
Mm.
and to not like my breasts. Right. So
Yeah.
the first thing, as we are, inventing, what is not aligned or needs to change. So this is the first thing that we do, is we start looking at what are the behaviors, what are the belief systems, what are the thought process, what are the stories, what are the opinions of others that we have taken on as gospel truth.
Hmm.
All of that tells you where that alignment lacks, right? So this here, these lines, many of us have learned to be who the world wants us to be.
Wow.
But there comes a time when it is harder to hold on to this facade that it is to embrace who we truly are, to surrender to how we have changed and align life to that way of being. You are being called to let go of who you once were, or the things that you once defined yourself by, the job, the relationship, the mask you wore, and to embrace who you truly are now.
Hmm.
To courageously step into the person that you came here to be in full authenticity. So the inquiry, sitting down with your journal, sitting
Mhm.
down with any scrap of paper, a Post-it note, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, what in your life is not aligned or needs to change? The second thing that comes up, which is very, very interesting, because I think you stated this a little bit ago.
Mhm.
The other one was boundaries. I kid you not, guys. I did not draw these. I didn't know what these cards were. I just pulled these first two cards, right? So this is boundaries.
Mhm.
Where do you need to establish better boundaries? You are being called to create clear boundaries in your life. This could be with your friends, family, or work. Saying yes when you really mean no
Oh my
leads to
gosh.
resentment, which is the biggest energy drain ever. And I would agree. I've had a lot of resent in my life, and that is a huge energy drain. At first, it might only be for a little bit and not feel like a big deal, but before you know it, your energy field becomes porous and you're left feeling depleted, resentful, and taken advantage of. My
Wow.
clients said, let their no's be no's and their yeses be yeses. And they don't have to explain anything and they don't have to worry about what other people think or say. If it is not something that they absolutely know that they are not going to look forward to the day of, the hour of, they say no, period. I think that is a healthy, and they're in their 30s. I love them for telling me about that. So if you are
Yeah.
saying yes when you really mean no, you are likely needing something yourself. Ask yourself, what part of me needs something from them? It could be a need for approval, a fear of being seen a certain way, or a fear of loss. The best way to gauge your boundaries is to check in with your belly. Your belly is the second brain. It has the intelligence known as your gut feelings. Tune into this
Mhm.
space, deciding what is okay for you. How does it feel? What is it trying to communicate with you? So, journal, post it note, whatever. Where in your life do you need to establish better boundaries? And again, huge shout out to Rebecca Campbell for Work Your Light Oracle cards. These are just so good. But those are the first two places you go when you the very first thing is the realization, I am sick of my own shit.
Yeah.
Thank you, Liz Gilbert, for recognizing that and putting it into words that we understand.
Mhm. Exactly.
For teaching it to us like we're in kindergarten.
Mhm. Mhm.
The second thing is, where do you feel like you're out of alignment with who you are? And the third one is, where are you giving of yourself where you don't want to anymore?
The third one is probably the most, how would I put that? Where I have to work on a lot because I give a lot.
Yeah.
Which is really fine. I want to, but I need to find a healthy balance.
I I think it's very interesting you bring that up, because that came up not too long ago. that one of the greatest disservices we ever taught our children is that it's better to give than to receive.
Yeah.
And we think that because I don't know, maybe we think that it's biblical somewhere, which it isn't. There are some aspects in there about giving and receiving.
Hmm.
Um, but we're also human. And we have needs that we have to take care of. I have stopped doing a whole lot of energy healing sessions. I am very picky about who I work on right now because I don't
Hmm.
have the bandwidth to give to
Yeah.
everyone. I have one person that I am mentoring right now,
Hmm.
because I don't have the bandwidth to give right now. I'm in EMDR. I got enough on my plate,
Yeah,
but
we
this is
do.
something I feel like that I need to work with. It's not permanent, and I think
Mm-mm.
it's one of the biggest things. I even had a client message me, and she's like, nobody brings through my deceased loved ones like you do. And I am not, I always claim I'm not a medium, but her family comes through for me. And she's like, you're just the best medium. And I know in part she was probably hoping that by her saying that to me, I would say, oh, that's so great. I'm just really honored. And I am
Hmm.
honored that
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
that her family comes through. And I don't have it to give right now because right now in this phase of my life, I don't want to show up as the wounded kid anymore.
Yeah.
I want to show up as the powerful crone. So I have to say no to a lot of things and say yes to the things that really, really make my heart sing.
Hmm.
And she knows that when I'm ready, I will call her and say, okay, I'm ready to bring your son and your partner through. And
Yeah.
whoever else is on the other side. Yeah.
That's powerful.
And it's hard.
Yeah. It's what?
It's hard though. It's
It's
hard.
hard. It's
Yeah.
hard.
And there's another thing with that. There's so many women. Well, as Cody said in the message that I read in our last one,
Hmm.
there are so many women who are just overwhelmed with their lives. They are working. I'm thinking of my sweet friend who lives in Virginia. She is raising 3 boys. One is now, I want to say one's in college. Maybe 2 are in college. I don't think any of them have hit 21 yet. But 2 maybe are in college and 1's still in high school. And she's raised them pretty much single-handedly.
Hmm.
And she has worked a full-time job. And when I say hard, it's been hard for her. Like, it's like hard with a capital H, raising 3 boys on her
I
own.
bet.
And in Virginia, like
Yeah.
the cost of living there is so much higher, all of it.
Yeah.
And she barely has time to take care of herself. And she's got laundry and she's got dishes and she's got a house to clean and all of that. And some women don't have, like, I don't know, maybe it was Mary Kay, I can't remember, was like, if you're taking all your time cleaning your house, maybe you need to hire somebody to clean your house. Lovely idea.
Never
And,
thought of it.
and also, who can afford that all the time?
Yeah, exactly.
She's raising 3 boys.
Hmm.
She's not getting money from the dad.
Hmm.
She's doing it on her own. Sometimes we don't have the money for that. So
That's
what do we
exactly
do?
right.
Yeah. So, and she feels guilty sometimes taking out that little bit of time for herself just to learn Reiki, you
Mm.
know? And so sometimes it's hard, and she's still doing it. She's still taking out that time to do Reiki. So ask yourself,
Yeah.
where are you out of alignment in your life? What are the baby steps you can take to get there? How do you want to show up in your life? What are
Hmm.
your buzzwords? Mine's courage. Mine is self-care. I did not learn to take care of myself growing
Yeah.
up.
Yes. I
My mom
can.
had false teeth. So her version of brushing her teeth was tossing them in a cup with some, I don't know, whatever that false teeth cleaning stuff was. And then
Those
occasionally,
tablets.
yeah, those tablets bubble up and turn blue, right? And
Yes.
I didn't learn to brush my teeth until I was in the 5th grade.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know.
Of course not.
I didn't know like there's so much about self-care. I
Yeah.
still don't know. These women who do all these great, get ready with me and get ready for bed with me,
Mhm.
videos. I love those. I'm like, where'd you get all that skincare?
Yeah. How did
Like
you figure all this out?
exactly, exactly. My mom didn't wear makeup unless she absolutely had to. My mom was wearing a cowboy boot jeans wearing woman. Like she didn't give two hoots what she looked like. She was showing up for life no matter what.
Yeah.
She was really where I had to learn it all on my own. So, and that's self-care for me.
Yeah.
Some of it, that skincare, that brushing your teeth,
Just
you
basic
know.
stuff sometimes.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
Yeah. But just know that reinventing yourself is not something that you do maybe, I don't know, once or twice in your lifetime.
And you don't do it
Reinventing your
overnight.
You don't do it overnight exactly. It's something maybe you do a little bit each day. A little bit each day, and sometimes you're forced to do it, and sometimes it's because you want to or because you feel like the path you were on doesn't serve you anymore and you're just going down a new path.
Mhm.
So whatever time or timeline serves you best, that's what you do.
Right now, I do the bare minimum of cleaning. I keep the dishes up. I wipe down the counters because it has to be done. I am cooking food and I do eat some at home, but I eat more out still.
Mm-hmm.
My sheets are clean. My clothes are clean. My floor is clean, because I live in an apartment and I don't want to have the bugs. Am I dusting every week? Oh, hell no. I am doing the bare minimum of keeping everything up and
Mm-hmm.
clean. But I do put my clothes away. When I get done doing laundry, I put them away right away,
That's
because it
good.
takes no time at all. But this kind of stuff takes time.
Mm-hmm.
I set those, started working on those, like courage and self-care and all that kind of stuff. Started working on that a couple of months ago. This week on Tuesday in a staff meeting, we meet as departments. So I meet as the education department. Was the first time that I was really open and honest with everybody that's there. Now, these are people that I consider friends,
Mm-hmm.
but I chose to embrace and embody the courage word, the
The
word courage.
courage.
Yeah, the word courage. Because we were talking about, they had us do our leadership team had us do disc assessment so they could figure out where best to utilize some of our talents and abilities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And my boss, I admitted this earlier, my boss is very uncomfortable with emotion. She admits that that's her. She's also a fire sign. She is all about get it done, get it right, get it done right the first time. That is her, and I admire that about her. I'm more about it's about the journey, not the destination. We don't we don't always. We're both very valuable. Oh, and I'm also
Mm-hmm.
about who all can we get in the car on the way there? Like, I want everyone's voice heard. I want everyone's opinion heard. I want make sure. And she's just like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it myself. And she's good at it. She's great at it. That's why she's the boss and I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
But she admitted that when we were reading all of our disc assessment stuff, she admitted that emotions make her uncomfortable. And I knew this
Mm-hmm.
because, bless her heart, she and I had quite a conversation about it. And I never thought I was really an emotional person. Turns out I am hyper emotional. And especially when I am in trauma response, which I was pretty much in trauma response at work every day.
Wow.
And so we are in our meeting on Tuesday, and she admits that the one thing that makes her so uncomfortable is people's emotions. And she said, but she's working on it. She's really working on it. And I said, well, I'll go next. And I'm like, how inconvenient for you, boss lady, because I want to say her name, that I am doing EMDR and now I cannot help you practice your discomfort with emotions because I'm always been the one that's triggered you with my emotions. And she chuckled. And then I said, my biggest one is being able to speak up because I'm afraid that people are going to think that I'm stupid, right? So I have to work on that. That's my courage. That's
Mm-hmm.
me taking that step once a week, once a week. Like we're talking about those steps of changing our lives, reinventing ourselves. Once a week, I am making myself speak out at a meeting. It's horrible. So anyway, and then the next 2 or 3 people had emotional expressions. They began to cry, and as they began to share things, and I was like, "Dude, I'm off the hook. I don't have to be your emotional trigger anymore. We got people stepping up right and left for this." And internally, I chuckled a little bit. I was like, "How about that? I'm not the emotional one anymore." And at the same time, they had very, very legitimate reasons for being
Yeah.
emotional. And but it felt in that moment like it was, see, Indira, when you take that step to be courageous and you speak, you don't have to be in that same cycle with this person anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have to be her emotional trigger that causes her to have to work on being comfortable with emotions. So that reinventing yourself and where to start, for me at work, it's the smallest step. It's when we meet on Tuesdays and I just say, I'm going to speak up today.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's how we start. So, for Bettina, she may get into, I don't know, she may get an email from somebody and they're like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And there's a part of her that really wants to, but then when she checks in with her gut, she's like, "I need to focus on me that day. That's my day because my work gives me a lot and I need that decompression time." And Indira is always at my house recording podcasts and I don't get time for myself. And she's always like, "Can we meet before 1?" And I'm like, "No, 1." And so she's going to be, and she's not getting out of the podcast because she helped create this thing. So yours may be, I can't do it now, but when I'm ready, I will let you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you have the bandwidth and you have the ability, then you can say, "I would really love to talk to you. Do you have time later today? Do you have time tomorrow?" And then you'll know that spirit makes that time for you as opposed to you having to carve out the energy and the bandwidth and the capacity and the time through all of it.
Thank you. You just coached me on a step to take to reinvent myself. So thank you so much for
You're
that.
welcome. Yeah, that came from spirit.
But
Me.
just for the record, I like to have you at my house, okay? So
I am the change agent. I'm the one
you're
that
the
brings
change agent.
the door. She did, bless her heart. She said, and it wasn't, I don't think it was on the podcast. I think you said it to me and Eric. And it was something to the effect of, "My life has changed so dramatically since Indira entered it." And weird shit's happening around my house all the time. And weird stuff does happen here, though.
It does all the time.
We just had it. Like at that 22 minutes, all of a sudden, your sound changed.
Yeah.
And we had to go in and find it. There was a day I was sitting at the table of knowledge, and all of a sudden I see like something pink, like coming out from the sink area. The cat saw it. Cat and I saw it. You did not. And then it
I
like
didn't.
disappeared, and there wasn't anything there.
No. I think it's just our energy, the
Yeah.
combined energy of you and me in the same spot just makes stuff happen, which is exciting. Actually, it's kind of cool.
Manifest something cool. I
That
wonder if
would
we
be
can
awesome.
Yeah. So as far as reinventing yourself, 1, acknowledge you're sick of your shit.
Exactly.
2, write down the shit you're sick of. 3, check if it's an alignment issue or is it a boundary issue. And from there, take the steps every day for the alignment,
Yeah.
every day, every week. And for the boundary, instead of, I mean, you can let your no be no. You can, that's really hard for me in the beginning. It was really hard for me. Like my no be no. So it was not right now.
That's a good
I
one.
started it with not right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Stop trying to live the perfect life with the perfect house and the perfect food and the perfect, like, we are not Instagram social media lives. That is such a lie. And stop
It's a make
comparing
believe.
it is. Facebook is fake.
Yeah.
Instagram is fake.
Mm-hmm.
It really, really is. I have somebody that I love dearly who shows us about 5% of her life on Facebook. And the rest of it, she does not let us in. But we all know, we who love her know that it isn't anything like the 5%. And so,
Hmm.
and you know what, one of the things that Cody said in her message to us, I recognize that I've been comparing my life with others. Don't do that
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
there's nothing to compare, especially if you're comparing
Everybody,
it on social media.
yeah, everybody's on their own journey.
Yeah. Most important is you would do what is aligned with you. And if it's out of alignment, acknowledge it, fix it. So you heard ours,
Yeah.
and we've got some big stuff to work on, the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got to go back and watch this now and write it down because we didn't do that. We just decided to let spirit run through it.
It's true.
And then we're going to start making those steps, and we're going to start taking those steps, and you're going to be witness to it. And if you want us, need us, if you want us to help you and you know, whatever, you've got our email to
Yes, correct.
croneswithamic@gmail.com.
Reach out.
We will support you because it
We
does take a
will.
village.
It does. It
And
does.
we're not children. We're not raising children here, but it takes a village to support each other.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. So
Yeah.
we're here. We're here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it was a good one. Thanks for
Yeah.
listening and tune in again.
Yep. And don't forget to check the Friday message because it's bound to have some more about this.
Correct.
Yep.
All
See you
righty.
guys.
Bye.